Robert Dominic says he's a journalist and an activist, and you can find him at the beach, bar, or at brunch. We've got a lot in common, and we got a lot to talk about. Robert, come on in.
Hi, Amber.
Hello there, Robert. So happy to meet you. So tell me, where did you come from, and what have you been doing?
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to meet you. You look gorgeous right now.
I have no choice.
I grew up in Queens, New York. Very Italian, very Catholic boy growing up. Grade school, high school, both Catholic school, and I went to a Jesuit college. So I drank the Kool-Aid back then. I went to the University of Scranton in Pennsylvania, where I studied communications and English. After that, I moved back home here to New York City, where I was a teacher for the New York City Department of Education. I also taught in Florida for many years when I went down to graduate school. So I've taught English to high school students for about 15 years.
Wow. And
In
then what'd you do?
in 2017, I decided to make a career transition and follow my dreams to become a writer, become a journalist, and trying to have been working that ever since.
Why did you want to get into journalism?
I love reading. I've always loved reading. I'm always reading. I always have a book with me or a magazine. I taught English. I taught creative writing for many years to students. I had a teacher who told me if you can write well, you can have any job you want. And so that always stuck in my mind. So I love writing. I love reading and just kind of natural transition.
What was your first job in journalism?
My first job in journalism was probably I created my own blog. It's called The Gaze of Our Lives. And it's sort of just my own. I always say I want to be the gay Carrie Bradshaw. Although a lot nicer than she was on that show, she really wasn't a very good person on that show. So I write observations, my life stories. When my friends and I go out, they'll always say, "Tonight's not a blog night, Robert."
I want to meet your friends.
And they all, if they're in my blog, they get to pick their FBN, which is their fake blog name. So that'll keep them if they're ever in the blog. That name stays with them. But it's also kind of hard because as a gay man and with a lot of gay man friends, let's say my friend Michael is in the blog. So he's going to change his name to David. We know
Whoa.
10 gay David. So it's so a lot of people. Sorry.
What did you say about me?
It's all true, and I write them a lot nicer than a lot better than they appear sometimes. So it's all good.
You're a good friend.
Yes, I like to think so.
I don't think you make any money from a blog. So what was your first professional gig?
I write for Instinct Magazine, which is one of the oldest, the longest running queer LGBTQ publications.
Compared to the Advocate?
I think they started around the same time. I know we've been around for 26 years. We're celebrating our 26th year. So
Is it still in print?
it is not. We're just online.
Mm-hmm. So what was your first story with Instinct?
I think it was about Tom Daly, kind of a thirst trap, kind of a cute top 10 Tom Daly Speedo photos. So very, very hard hitting, very 60 minutes, very investigative.
Your research must have wore you out.
It was exhausting.
Do you have a certain style or a certain subject that you like to go towards?
For myself, for Instinct, I like to write the more political, the more activism articles, the more activism posts, but I also love a top 10 best lip sync for your life posts from Drag Race. I love doing those. And I'll write whatever is happening in the community. We're very community focused. I love promoting people in the community who are doing great things. So anything of those natures.
All right. You mentioned Drag Race. What was your comments about this last season?
I mean, I love it. I love the show. I love this season. I mean, I just love it. I was Team Sasha the whole time, but if Anitra would have won, that would have been amazing. So I
Mhm.
mean, I love the platform it gives, and I love how I feel like this season was a lot more political, and they made a lot more political statements, and that was just even better.
Well, good for Rue. Good for
Yeah.
Rue. Now, if she would only stop fracking on her land, that would be something.
Or stop putting things on Paramount. She's got billions. I can't pay $12 a month to watch All Stars.
All right, you talked about you like writing about activism. How does that inspire you, or what are you active in?
Since Trump got elected, or I shouldn't even say his name. I want to be like Whoopi Goldberg, who never says his name on The View. So since he got elected, I've seen an uptick in more gays, more queer people being active. For me, I joined a group called Gays Against Guns, um, which was started in which was started the day after Pulse, actually, after 49 people were killed at Pulse nightclub. And Gays Against Guns is an inclusive direct action group of LGBTQ people and our allies, and they're committed to non-violently breaking the gun industry's chain of death. And that includes investors, manufacturers, the NRA, and politicians who block safer gun laws.
There's a documentary coming out about it, correct?
Yes, directed by Paul Rowley, who is a member of GAG, and it will be out later this year.
All right, and we have a trailer for it. Russell, let's roll it.
With gun violence, Pulse was a catalyst. We know what it's like to have our bars raided regularly, but never before with a semi-automatic weapon.
This was born of a need to tell the folks who think they might want to fuck with us that we are not going to take it.
GAG, I think, came in and said, we're not going to be polite anymore. We're not going to ask for things. We're going to demand them.
I don't think any of us were really sure what it would develop into. But initially, it was going to be protests. It was going to be arrests. We've developed to be much more than that.
We were interested in gun violence prevention, not just for LGBTQ people, for everyone. We wanted to make sure that the entire country was safe, not just us.
To walk in the shoes of a person who's been killed and think about that person's life, what they left behind. You are fully in that person's space.
You are a beacon for this person. You really are truly representing this individual who is no longer with us. When you start to see how you're affecting people, it is unbelievable. This was a life wiped out needlessly because someone had a gun. I'm going to carry that experience with me for the rest of my life.
We took it out to the street. This wide, broad-based, intersectional movement that crosses every possible line that you can imagine.
Using our gayness, our faggotry, as part of our armor to show everyone who we are.
Glitter is very important.
Because quite frankly, we bring the party. We get people riled up. We are catching people's eye.
So many things that are really fucked up about the US go right through gun violence. It's a race issue. Police officers are shooting unarmed black folks. Young queer kids are more at risk of suicide.
Lockdown drills.
Mass shootings, domestic violence.
You add guns on top of that and you greatly increase a woman's chance of dying.
It's just absolutely insane. I refuse to accept this as the kind of world that I'm going to leave behind for my son.
There was like this joke of the gay agenda. The gays have got an agenda. Oh my God. And it's like, yes, we do. We're going to corrupt your children. We're going to make them hate guns. We're going to make them love unicorns.
It's pretty powerful.
I know. I get very emotional watching it. Every
Are you
time.
involved? Are you involved in the documentary in any way?
I'm not in the producing, writing, or directing, but as part of the actions that we do, I spotted myself a couple times in there. I was like, I think that's me.
What kind of events were those?
So we hold one action a month. The banner events are we march in the Halloween parade, we march in the Gay Pride parade. We have gone down to DC. We've gone to the NRA headquarters in Fairfax, Virginia. We've done Juneteenth. We've also gone to Fire Island, where we walk on the beach from Fire Island Pines to Cherry Grove. Those people that you saw in white, they're the human beings and they're veiled. So you have 49 human beings walking along the water from Fire Island Pines to Cherry Grove, and it's very powerful.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I'm looking forward to that movie. Getting back to your journalist gig, who would be an ideal interview? Who would you really like to interview?
Gus Kenworthy.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Gus Kenworthy. But that.
You want to have a beer with him or what?
Well, that too. Yeah, we could go to the bar, we could go to the beach, and have brunch. So.
All right. Getting back to that, what's your favorite kind of bar?
A queer bar.
But I mean, a disco, a dance club, a dive bar, a leather bar.
Yes to all of these.
You and I would have fun together, that's for sure. All right, for brunch, what would you like? What was your favorite kind of brunch?
I like going to a late brunch, and my friends get very mad. They want to go to brunch at like 12, and I'm like, oh, that's like breakfast. So we usually go at 2, because then when you're done, then you can go out a little bit afterwards. If you go out to brunch at 12, you're drunk at 2, and it's like there's nowhere to go at 2 p.m.
That's when you take a disco nap. You're going to appreciate that later on in your life. In about 10 years, you're going to appreciate that.
A disco nap for me just turns into staying home and staying in bed. Like this. So once I hit the bed, it's done.
All right. Now the beach. What's your favorite beach, or where is it?
I mean, I love Fire Island Pines. I love South Beach in Fort Lauderdale. The beach at P-Town is not my favorite beach. But
and why is that? Why is that? Because I go there.
I think that it's just a little bit of an effort to get to. I mean, I love riding my bike there, and I have my chair strapped on and walking through them. But it's still nice once you get there.
Yeah. No, we often talk about getting a shuttle. There should be a shuttle taking you there.
That'd be very nice. A quarter bus for everyone.
So what would you like to do in the next 10, 15 years?
I would love to write a book. I would love to be more politically active, especially down in Florida. I am actually moving down there at the end of June, excuse me. And we are going to start Gays Against Guns South Florida. So we're going to be a presence down there, and we're going to join the resistance movement to hopefully affect change down there, because what's happening in Florida is sickening right now.
Are you talking about Miami, Fort Lauderdale, the Keys?
I'm moving to Fort Lauderdale, but Gays Against Guns South Florida will be Orlando, Miami, and Fort Lauderdale, and anyone else that wants to join us.
Well, be careful down there.
Yeah, I had a lot of uncertainty deciding about the move, whether or not to go. But in the end, I made the decision to go down there and try to. Can I say the F word on here? Can I wait?
Robert, thank you so much for spending some time with us. Fascinating story. Look forward to the movie and your articles as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It was an honor and a pleasure.
Thank you. Hey, Instinct Magazine, how about an interview with me now?